So
We
Jim,
have-
do you have to hire the full-timers first before we could do the part-time?
Well, I don't know, that's one of the part of the meeting we're supposed to have with the union, but no. Theoretically, I mean, we need staff for whatever we're budgeted for right now. We're budgeted, the last time I spoke with Irene, at 33. We're at 28, we'll be at 27 here shortly. But I mean, you know, we'll get there. The problem we have is the immediate need. I mean, the union has issues apparently with the part-timers.
We got this camera going here, yeah. And
I don't care.
sometimes analytics.
I really don't care. It's, you can answer the question. So we're going to discuss that in terms of what's going on with that, but I mean, the thought is still the same. That will bring, my thought really is to hire some of our former employees who have expressed interest, there's no training downtime, and bring them back to work a couple shifts. I mean, at this point, it's like I said, it's not just a money cost, it's a human being cost. People can't only work.
Guys from Cleveland that were interested.
Well, that's okay, but we'd have to put them in a two-man car because they don't know the city and they don't know their way around. They'd know what to do with the call once you got there. But, you know, same with some guys from Garfield, but, you know, it's all kind of in the air, but my intent is at the meeting, the civil service meetings, to just put an ad in the paper and see what kind of response we get. So,
And where you?
We have 7 that are gonna be getting ready to be hired right now. They've completed their polygraph and background check, all passed that successfully. We just got word on the last candidate today that they passed their 2-step psychological successfully, all of them did. So we're gonna start scheduling tomorrow for the second interview. And the last process would be for them to pass their physical exam. We'll leave that to last. And then if they pass that, then they're good to hire.
Okay, good.
I want to go back to the amnesty. You said you put those in local papers. Did
Why, we sent it to them. Were they in the paper?
Yeah, we only have one paper.
It was in neighborhood.
Neighborhood
they
news.
were,
It
They
was
were the
there.
ones that picked it up.
It was there.
but you sent it to the other news outlets?
I didn't personally do it. I'm not sure
The
who
police
did.
department did, but the police department did, and then I did it too for them. And the only one that picked it up was Neighborhood News. But they did all the main ones. They did like 358, 1943,
yeah, we saw that.
Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com.
So that don't seem like it worked because it didn't make the news. It didn't make it in on the TV or radio stations.
But others did because Cleveland didn't either. I talked to somebody in Cleveland, they sent out at the same time, but they didn't get any coverage either.
So they're just
The only thing they
gonna
covered was Akron. They covered Akron's amnesty program.
Serious, and I can't remember which councilman it was in Cleveland. They've done an amnesty program for the last few years, and they advertise on the radio. But they get so many people that they have to turn people away. They only allow the first so many hundred show up. And one of the local churches has been hosting it. Some of the judges have come in to do this program. It's been working for them, it seemed like, for the last couple of years.
Maybe, isn't that the Word Church? Maybe.
I think they did it once, but somebody else did it also. And
Well, if we could get a church to get the word out, that would be a good idea. I didn't think of that one.
I think there's a few churches around that would host it. I think the big thing is getting the word out there through some radio advertisement to do it, and not along with that, but even with our reader tax. Something like some type of amnesty or coverage just to get the people in to pay or to get on a payment plan. I think will be money well spent to do that. We could get that working right.
Well, we could collaborate based on what you're saying with maybe, Garfield, Bedford, Warrensville, and have an amnesty and have it with Southeast Cleveland or Southeast Cuyahoga County and have more people involved in the same thing for the same week. We could collaborate something like that. That might be neat.
Each city would have a booth, so to speak, come up
And, that kind of puts us where we were looking at shared services, because I think we had talked about the possibility of combining a number of things with the county, but it doesn't have to be county. It could be Garfield Heights, it could be Bedford. I think that's an excellent suggestion, but we do need to get that whole cooperative kind of thing going and see how how they would like to join up more or less. But that's a great
Well,
idea.
I mean, if it brings in money to their city too,
As
I don't
well,
see why they
right. So it
wouldn't
isn't
wanna
just
do
us.
something. It would just be picking a date that everybody would be having staff available for.
Mhm. Well, that's one great shared service, is going through the courts. Can you think of anything else that we could do that with another community, or someone within our community, or the schools? Any other shared services that can come to mind?
There's a lot more than you
Fuel, health
realize.
insurance,
Health insurance, how?
through the schools,
Through the schools?
if we chose the same provider.
I don't know. It's worth looking. Schools.
Schools are the largest employer in the city.
Okay. Anything else?
Question, how many cars are going home right now with employees?
I think we have about 6 maybe. Couple in police, a few in fire,
We have 2.
1 in service.
It's 3.
So fire has 2, service has 1.
Service has 1, but would you say have 2?
We have 3.
And mine is 4. So that's about 5 or 6.
One of the things we're doing with the shared services, we're in the middle of working with Cleveland Water and to have them take over the ownership of our lines so that, we don't have to pay for those expenses should they, or our residents don't have to pay for those expenses should there be a major outage.
A major outage, what do you?
Well, I don't know, if some pipe bursts or something, big event, it's expensive, so.
I think just to that,
Goes back to that one.
the city system hasn't been updated in years. And whereas they work with us on repairs, there really hasn't been any infrastructure improvement. And the way they explained it to me, by them taking that over, they can plan and do improvements that there's no way that we could be able to do on our own.
And where does that money come from?
We don't do them on our own anyway, they do. Or they hire a contractor.
Well, the way it was explained to me, they do the repairs, and like when it's completely beyond repair, then they'll do it, but they're claiming that they would start what's the word I'm looking for?
Replacement.
Modernization, replacement of some of the systems if they had ownership of it. That was their claim to fame with that whole program.
Well, we had that agreement with them like 7 years ago, that anytime we did a street, we paved a street or we did a renovation, they would come in and replace the entire water line, and they never
I
did
think that
it.
was sewers.
No, it was water. They never did it.
There was some issues in the past about,
Sewers are separate issues. We're responsible for the sewers. The water department's responsible for water. Dominion's got gas and First Energy has power, so. But they never did it.
I think that these agreements will clarify that. I mean, I don't know why they never did it, but they were supposed to, you're right, but,
Is that
Depending
coming
on
up
who-
for the discussion?
no, we're
Somewhere.
working on it.
Okay.
Well, but it's not saving us any money. It's not costing us any money
Well,
because they're fixing their brakes. The only thing we haven't been paid for is they'll only pay us for, what is it, a 4x4 excavation?
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so when the excavation's bigger, we fight about it with them. Because we had an agreement with them and they don't want to honor it, so we fight. And then usually they'll pay us when we threaten to sue them. Because we had that big one on Libby and Lee that blew up a couple years ago in front of Walgreens. We had the one out here in front of Mr. Wonderful's that fought with them about that. They ended up paying us. We had one on Greenhurst Street. They ended up paying us.
That was a big one.
Yeah, most of the time though, they don't want to pay us.
The other thing with schools that I could see is getting a relationship with the printing press and see if we couldn't get some page or something going on with their printer and get us involved in their little newsletter that comes out on a regular basis. Because at least it goes to everyone in the community, because we're missing so many people. So many people are saying, nope, don't know what's going on. But I think that would be a way to to combine some of the lack of news is by going through the schools. I don't know if we have a good enough relationship with them in order to even begin that discussion. Have we ever talked about it before?
We don't have the money for a newsletter, so they're not
We
gonna.
don't,
Yeah.
we don't, but I'm saying if the schools would be willing to front some of that,
To what, to print our news for free?
or include us in their newsletter.
Okay.
Well, it's worth a try. Anything else for shared services that we can come up with?
Back to the cars.
Oh, back to the cars, okay.
Chief, you need your cars for the captains and so forth, right?
Right now, I get a car.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so, and the captain gets a car, and then the detective bureau supervisor has one. That's so when they respond to calls, they go right to the scene, they don't have to come back. Plus, if they could call, the bureau supervisor probably needs one more than anybody other than me coming to meetings and things like that. That's where the convenience factor comes in, so.
You guys have the sirens on those cars that you take home though,
Yeah.
right? So you don't, so that you can't like get here quicker?
No, because we don't want them, you're only supposed to run lights and sirens if you have a marked police vehicle. So we don't, none of the plainclothes ones are supposed to be running that way because they can't run a siren. Yeah, so.
And those are for city business only, correct?
Yes.
Right, and
We
also
do, we
yours,
respond in with
do you take yours home? Okay,
Dan and I do. So we respond on every working fire.
that's right.
now, let me ask another question. Just for my knowledge, now, say if there's a football game, you take it to the football game.
Say there's what?
Football game.
You mean like a high school football game?
Out downtown, any out of the city.
Take it to the football game.
You say
You're
you
going to
drive
the
your car
football
for
games,
personal
you use the
business.
car.
No,
What I do, I keep an extra set of turnout gear and radios at Station 1 if I'm out in my personal vehicle, and I just drive the Station 1 flow of traffic and take one of the utility vehicles to the call. It's only garaged at home, that's only for coming back and forth to work, going for meetings and responding on calls, that's it.
No, I understand you guys need a car. Now, I know when the mayor first came on, he used his own private car. And then when we got rid of our cars in the union, we had a board that we had 2 cars, keys up on it. Everybody had to come to work in the morning, pick up a key if they had to go somewhere. You know? And if you used your personal car, then we paid them mileage if you had to go Columbus. But it had to be official business and you had the right reason for and get it okayed by the Secretary of Treasury to do it. I was thinking like something like that, not for you guys, because you need those cars. And maybe a mayor's office, service. Who else has a car, Mayor?
That's it.
That's
I just gave you the list.
Okay.
That's it.
I don't know how much savings that would be. How often do we replace them cars?
We don't. The one that I have is a 08 and the one that Dennis Lou has is an 08.
Like mine are.
They're 7 years old. I mean, they're,
Yeah.
you know, they got a ton of miles on them and, you know, they get us here to there and that's it.
They're pretty much paid for too, aren't they?
They've been paid for.
Yeah, yeah. But that's still something to put in the proposed plan, that, you know, city vehicles are to be seen for business only.
It is in there. It's in the policy.
I know, but they don't know it in Columbus, so that's what we're.
Well, sure they do. They do that
Sure.
with all the cities that they audit. Of course they do.
Yeah,
I think we do have a policy about that.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think we do.
I mean, there was some real, if you looked at the restoration plans from some of the other areas that were in fiscal emergency, it was pretty simple. Get cheap toilet paper, get cheap, I think the paper towels, change the paper towels, and it's $1,000 savings or even $1,200, but sounds like a piddly little amount, but we're gonna have to start somewhere.
Well, did you ever dry your hands with what we
Yeah, I
have
think
in
we
the
already
washer? Do you?
Yeah. Listen,
Kind of backing up a little bit, because
What?
I can't remember when we did the jail cuts either, but I mean, that might be something you want to put in there in terms of what we've done already.
Yeah,
The reduction in the jail staffing, the, obviously you already touched their contract, I'm just still thinking of the services.
The closing of the jail.
And then we close.
closing of the, oh, that's a
I
good
mean,
one.
would it be helpful if you got reports from all the directors?
Absolutely, absolutely, it would make life a lot easier, I think. Yeah.
I think we have to figure out what departments actually can generate funds for us. And basically, fire gives us the ambulance billing fees, police could write tickets, building department, violation notices, permits.
You gotta have
I
cops
think
write
one of the
tickets.
things that we aren't really looking at or pursuing hard is like the vacant housing registration. We increased that to, as some type of coverage for us to maintain grass, as well as all the nuisance runs that the police or fire need to go to when there's a vacant property. And I think we need to, I know I've not been up on it as much because there's so many other things to do,
Mhm.
but I think that if we focus on things that make us money,
Well, I think the
That's
building
helpful.
department in general, it could be a
they should be
moneymaker.
self-sustaining. They
It
should not be a
it
money
should.
loss.
Right. I think we had talked, I think you had mentioned reorganizing the building department. However, even if it isn't with our own personnel, I think to sit down and do a contract with MBI, or,
Safe bill.
Safe Build, and try to narrow in on actually making money instead of just trying to catch
Well,
up
that's
consistently.
usually the department that's cut the first, and they're the ones that actually make the money. So
Mhm.
even if we have to spend money to get the inspectors out there, it's just like Don Nickerson, whatever, he generated enough of money, from what I understand, to almost fund his position. So there's ways that you can do things if you're aggressive. And we're not aggressive, we're passive, because
Mhm.
there's nobody driving around. There's nobody, looking for people that are doing improvements,
He does.
Well, that's
Whenever
not
you can.
necessarily true. I
Yeah.
mean, we do have an inspector that is around citing grass, and he does catch a lot of contractors.
But you're right, the more, if we had more people, we'd probably be
Yeah.
able to do more,
Yeah.
but still, honest to God, he's
More than one
probably
would
the
be good.
main guy that goes around and drives looking for people.
What no one's mentioned yet, what if Safe Build says at the end of the year, thank you very much, but we're not interested? And then what? Because that's a very strong possibility.
Well, in the past, I know that we kind of subcontracted, what was it, with Bedford Heights years ago, to use some of their certified inspectors. And I
That's
think-
just the building commissioner to sign off on the linens and the topos and the things of that nature. I mean, we're talking about if they pull out, if they say, thank you very much, Maple Heights, we bit off more than we can possibly chew here because we bought 21 cities and villages when they purchased MVIS, then what?
We have been trying to arrange a meeting, and they haven't been beating our door down, have they? I
No.
mean, but we kind of withhold the payment now, so we're expecting to hear from them soon,
But that's one of the,
Is there-
one of the
is there-
biggest areas that, go ahead.
Is there a date in that contract that,
New Year's Eve.
okay, but do they have so many days before that they have to notify you if they're not gonna renew or continue?
I think there's an out for both of us, but I mean, we know the drop dead date is New Year's Eve.
And hopefully
It's
you'll
probably
have
smart
a
to start
meeting with them.
negotiating now, which is October.
Oh,
so
we've
they
been
might
trying,
remember.
we've been
Can't get
meeting
in
with them
touch
and
them?
trying,
Oh,
but
okay.
you know, they're, you heard what John just
Top of
said.
my stack. Term shall be effective immediately after passage of the account, the term determined on the first day of December 2015. At the end of that period, and upon mutual agreement of the parties as approved by City Council, this agreement may be modified and renewed for successive periods acceptable to both parties. So it's up to, we'd have to renegotiate. It's terminating for sure December 31st.
But there's no notification date before December 31st for them.
Well, you can terminate for non-performance with 30 days notice, but they have to have a right to cure their default before they, you gotta give them an opportunity to cure the default.
But he's asking, Councilman Jackson's asking if they have to give us notice, not, you just said
Oh, I see what
non-conformance.
you're saying, yeah, well, it would be nice to, we're not wait till the last minute, hopefully, we're planning on doing that.
No, I don't want to speak for you, but that's what you're asking.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting.
he's asking.
I see from the other
If
end.
they
Yeah,
have to give us notice before New Year's Eve that, hey, Maple Heights, thanks but no thanks, we're out of here.
I would think they'd have that courtesy, but, you know.
Courtesy, is it in there? He wants to know and I
It's
want to
not
know.
in
is
here,
it in
no,
there?
it's not in here.
yeah. Is it in there to say November 30th, if we don't intend to keep going, that we have to notify?
No, because it's only a very
And they should
short.
know, isn't that how it was set up with MBIS? If we decided we didn't want them anymore, we would talk to them, and if they
That's their
decided.
contract.
Well, that's
the
it. They
MBIS
said it was a
contract.
mutual thing.
Yeah,
So either way.
but if it's not written in writing in
Yeah,
there,
right.
then you're SOL.
Yeah, take care.
We also offered them, through part of the
There you're at.
contract, services that, are we still providing them?
What's that?
Didn't we say that we would have either a secretary or somebody at the window? And I think we said we were gonna give them 2 inspectors that aren't certified to work with, not to give them, but that would be
They'd be
our
available.
support staff.
Well, yeah, our people are available, our city employees, yeah. And they work with them, is that what you're asking? Yeah, every day.
Well, to be honest with you, I was gonna wait till after the election and then set up a meeting with them, with whoever may prevail, so.
Yeah,
They
John,
can
did you write
decide.
him a letter that you'd like to open up negotiations?
Oh, yeah, we sent some emails back and forth, and like I say, we stopped paying them, and we kept asking them for some information to confirm that they, you know, we have a contract with MBIS, so, you know, we need something to prove, although they've been very scarce in their information they've been giving us to substantiate that we should be paying Safe Belt versus MBIS, which I think is one and the same, but they're not really forthcoming with any documentation or even a meeting or a letter. They just sent some generic letter that they sent saying effective September 1st, we'll be taking over, you know, and so
Correspondence from both parties.
I've spoken to them verbally.
Either
but-
one of them.
You have?
Because
Well, they were at a
they
meeting.
want another one, will come back and say, you owe us.
But
Seen
they-
it happen too many times.
Yeah.
Well, I'll assure you, we'll have a meeting before the end of the year. Probably it's November 6th or 7th, I would imagine.
Well, whatever they give you is something that we're all gonna have to digest also, so the sooner the better. Regardless of, you know, election or not.
Yeah, you'll have to
Still
vote
good
on it.
have
Right.
I'd definitely send a letter out stating that we'd like to sit down and start negotiating.
Will do.
Contract.
I'll get it out
Make sure
tomorrow.
I had that in writing.
Well, there's some things they have to do on their part too, like update some of their software, so I wouldn't just take them carte blanche.
I'll send them a letter tomorrow.
Well, whatever. Everybody else got the
There's,
Carte blanche.
anything else under revenue that we can look at with, in addition to the building department? Yes, no? We were talking about tax collections, Rita, and property taxes, if we can error sort out Rita. Remember, we had so many people come and say, yes, we will do the letters, we will get the lawyers involved, we will collect the taxes, and what happens?
Well, they are in court, you know,
Are they?
quite a bit. They do have quite a few judgments against people, you know. Once you sue someone, you have to, you know, you win the case, you then have to collect on it. If the people don't have a job or don't have a bank account, or, you know, there's really no
Hard to
way to,
collect.
yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
collect. We probably have $1 million in judgments out there, I would imagine. But, yeah, 2 million that's owed, but yeah, probably have $2 million in judgment. I'm not sure. We should probably set up a meeting with Rita. It's been a little while since we got an update from
Couple of
them.
years.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a
This
question?
year? No, I'm just saying, wasn't it this year? We got
It was last December.
Was it last
It
December?
was December when we had the meeting with CCA.
And Irene said it was not feasible?
Yeah, it wasn't feasible because there was, I think, the collection that they had charged, there was fees that they had charged, and so it wasn't an interest financially in the city.
Okay.
And now, just so to keep giving you an update, we are going to be introducing a new tax code at the next council meeting that's got to be passed by the end of the year. It's going to be from 2016 forward. You know, it's that the state's mandating that we adopt. Other than, we have a few choices, as you know, but not many. But it's pretty. But you have to adopt it in order to collect it. And I'll go over that with you another time, but that'll be
Okay.
in your packets. It's probably this thick though, you know, so we'll probably absolutely give it a first reading next meeting.
So John, could you go back to Rita for a minute? Because I don't know if it's that subject or not. Do they give us any notification of people that are like 1 year behind? Because like in your property tax, if you're 1 year behind, you're still able to get on some type of a payment plan. It's not going to be something that's going to be burdensome or a hardship. So I mean, if we could catch people within a year or even 2 years behind in paying Rita, it would be a lot easier for them to do something than when they owe larger amounts and they can't pay.
Right, I don't get reports, I assume finance does, but I'll talk to Irene about it. I mean, I don't have access to any tax information whatsoever, but
So could we find that out, what type of information that Rita's actually giving us and how current it is?
absolutely.
Or we could have a meeting with Rita, as you mentioned, that might be helpful.
Especially we are gonna have to, especially with adopting this new
Right,
code anyway, so
right.
maybe we'll invite them to see their thoughts on the new code and then we could ask them what's up with the collections, have a report
If
ready.
that's something anybody would be interested in. And then back to revenue, the only other thing which is a possibility would be the success of our current levy.
Sure.
One levy.
It's in your-
Oh, but that's just one levy for one department?
Right, but it will relieve the stress on the other departments.
I'm not following you. What are you talking about?
Well, let's see, you shut the senior center down, and to me, that puts the burden on the police and the fire when you have all these people hanging out there, not able to get transport and not able to get out. And that's always been what we thought the value of the senior center was.
Well, he's getting 7 firemen, so I don't know that firemen are gonna be transporting seniors around. I don't think that's gonna happen. Is that what you're saying? That the fire trucks are gonna pick up seniors and drive them around?
No, I don't think that's
not
what
at
she's
all.
saying.
Well, wait a minute, I want
No.
clarification.
I think she's saying that if we weren't there as a safety net for people, there will be more calls going into the police and fire
That's all.
department.
Oh, okay, phone calls, you mean?
Well, for service, not
Yeah.
just to take, I don't mean to take them to a doctor's appointment, but they will
Right.
wait. They won't go to a doctor and then
They'll get
the
sick.
condition will escalate. Those are numbers that are documented.
But every phone call that's made goes right to Bedford, right? The non-emergency number, every time I call it, it rings in Bedford.
Right.
So those calls are gonna go to Bedford.
What do
Bedford
you
Heights
charge
or
for those
Bedford?
calls?
Bedford Heights, I'm sorry, Bedford Heights. So any of those numbers you call are gonna go right to that center, right? Okay.
And just real quick, while we're
Your
on,
point- What's your point?
My point is, good luck with those phone calls going there.
Yeah, but Mayor,
What?
if the levy passes,
Mhm.
the money for the levy goes straight to the senior center.
Right, correct.
And the general fund no longer has to fund it.
We're not in the
We're not
general
funding it
fund.
now, Alex, we haven't
Yeah,
funded it
now,
all
right
year.
now, yeah.
But I mean, the whole year, this year, we haven't funded it.
Yeah, I know.
Linda's, been self-sufficient on her own in the fundraising and the grants and, so so we all understand that too.
Yeah.
well, while we're on the topic, I mean, the deadline, if anybody, I'm not saying we should do anything, but the candidate issue and local option filing deadline is December 9th. So if anyone was gonna introduce anything.
For what
For
election?
the March 8th presidential primary.
Okay,
So
For next year.
For
We'd have
next
to
year.
pay for that though, wouldn't that be?
No.
No, not that one?
Because there's a primary, it's a
But we'll-
presidential primary, so.
well, we still have to pay to open the buildings.
Well, that's minimal compared to the
Yeah, it is.
10,000 they asked for.
But the
Won't be
deadline's
as special.
December 9th to get it down there, so if anybody
Right.
were gonna introduce anything, they'd have to do it like,
Well,
Soon.
we'll know by November 4th.
well, I just wanted to put it on record, that I told you guys.
Okay.
Might have to go with another operating levy.
Possibly.
No way out.